There is a wave of protests gripping the world again, spanning across continents and issues. Protesters in Peru set fences on fire. A 24-year-old was shot dead in the head for protesting in Morocco. After major demonstrations, Madagascar's military has taken control of the country. A Ramon Magsaysay awardee sits behind bars in India. There is only one thing linking all of this global outrage: Generation Z. Why is the youth angry today? I'm Ananya Dutta. This is HD In Depth. The South Asian country of Nepal brought the Gen Z face-to-face with those in power in early September. Protests erupted after the government abruptly banned multiple social media platforms, a move that catalyzed widespread frustration among young people, already angered by corruption, nepotism, and the visible wealth of political elites. Demonstrations quickly spread nationwide, targeting government buildings and demanding accountability. By September 9th, Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli resigned, and by September 12th, Sushila Karki was appointed as the interim Prime Minister. The protests subsided shortly after. Let's go across to Peru. Youth mobilizations began on September 20th. A new legislation needed young people to contribute to private pension funds. Now, the move immediately sparked widespread outrage among the Gen Z, who saw it as an unfair burden at a time of economic struggle. Protests intensified in Lima, where the protesters clashed with the police. By mid-October, the demonstrations continued, highlighting broader frustration, again with similar issues: corruption, political ineffectiveness, and economic inequality. These protests have forced ongoing national debates about pension reforms and youth rights. Let's go across to Morocco. Late September this year saw the emergence of the so-called Gen Z movement, with youth mobilizing against government mismanagement and perceived lavish spending on international events, while basic public needs went unmet. Protesters called the accountability and reforms. Despite arrests and deaths, protests are set to resume. Then in India, a high-altitude cold desert region in the Himalayas, Ladakh witnessed its own Gen Z protests. The youth torched the regional office of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Bharatiya Janata Party. The anger comes in the backdrop of the past 6 years. Thousands in Ladakh have taken to the streets with peaceful marches and gone on hunger strikes demanding greater constitutional safeguards and a statehood from India. They basically want the power to elect their local government, something the centre decides right now. The current protests gained momentum following a hunger strike initiated by prominent activist Sonam Wangchuk, who sits behind bars as we speak. Then we go across to Philippines. Student protests began around October, targeting government corruption, particularly related to flood control projects and the allocation of public funds. Young people, mainly university students, staged demonstrations and walkouts demanding transparency and accountability. Protests are still ongoing in pockets, with no accountability from the government so far. Like Nepal, Madagascar witnessed its own regime change thanks to the youth-led protests. Demonstrators demanded basic services such as electricity and water, while criticizing the government for corruption and inaction. The unrest culminated in President Andre Roilina fleeing the capital, followed by the swearing-in of the military chief yesterday. The coup led to Madagascar's suspension from the African Union, and the country's future seems uncertain. The spark differs from country to country, but the kindling is the same: stagnant prospects for young people, widening inequality, and a daily feed of elite privilege on Gen Z's phone screens. You see, the International Labour Organization has estimated this year that 262 million young people are neither employed nor studying. This is 1 in 4 youth globally, people falling between the ages of 15 and 24. And for those who have studied and are eligible for employment, the market isn't easy for them. The average youth unemployment for the year 2023 was 15.77%. Before the COVID-19 pandemic, youth were already about 3 times more likely to be unemployed than adults in many settings. But these are just numbers. Youth frustration is easily visible around us. For example, young people often enter the labor market with high expectations and new ideas. But after inheriting our broken system with few opportunities, lower salaries, and instability, they feel drained. The frustration is often directed at those at the top, the elites. Like in Nepal, protests were partly fueled by anger over political elites' children flaunting privilege on social media while the average youth struggles. Bangladesh's protests of last year had a similar sentiment, where the youth felt the country's political elite were controlling and manipulating the economy to their own whims. Ultimately, Sheikh Hasina, who was on her 10th term, paid the due price of fleeing the country. And that brings us to the ultimate point: power. Despite their significant presence in the global population, young people remain largely underrepresented in political institutions. Sure, we hear names like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez in the US, Anish Gawande from India, and Nadia Whittome from the UK. But when you see the real numbers, it is abysmally low. An average of only 2.8% of members of parliament worldwide are under the age of 30. Most are middle-aged men from the majority ethnicity. The global wave of Gen Z protests show that youth anger is not just about local issues. It's about a generational demand for visibility, fairness, and a seat at the table. So in the age of Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, grievances travel faster than governments can respond. You need to understand Gen Z isn't just scrolling through history, they are rewriting it one protest at a time. I'm Ananya Dutta. Thanks for watching Hindustan Times.